The Tampa area's biggest transit system used your tax dollars to pay its former leader to leave.
My name is Carolyn House Stewart.
While she was still under investigation for a whistleblower complaint.
The allegations are that there's been an abusive, hostile, humiliating, bullying, and related behaviors evidenced by the interim CEO.
And that investigation is still open. It's been going on for a year.
Transparency.
Not only are we being very transparent, HART has needed that transparency.
Let's see what's brewing. Hi, I'm Jenna Bourne, and I'm an investigative reporter at 10 Tampa Bay. If you're new here, welcome to our caffeine-fueled, homemade deep dive into issues that matter to you. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To be honest, I thought that our last episode would be my last time calling this a homemade deep dive, because 10 Tampa Bay's investigative unit moved back into the TV station last month. But spoiler alert, the Delta variant had other plans. So I packed up all my gear again and went back home. The cats are delighted. Anyway, let's start with the basics. Who is Carolyn House Stewart?
I'm Carolyn House Stewart, interim CEO at HART.
Hillsborough Area Regional Transit, HART for short, picked Stewart to be interim CEO in November 2019. That's when it suspended its CEO at the time, Ben Limmer, after a whistleblower complaint. Stewart was HART's Director of Risk and Legal Services. If you watch 10 Tampa Bay, you may remember I tried to talk to Stewart last year about a big increase in passengers attacking HART's bus operators.
I have another meeting at 10 o'clock.
So we've got 15 minutes here.
And I have to take a comfort break, and I'm sure
You
that
don't
you're
have
gonna
any time to
appreciate
talk
that.
about bus driver safety? You don't have time for just a quick comment on the story that we ran last week on the huge increase in attacks on bus drivers? Who are you gesturing to, ma'am?
6 months after that conversation, HART's General Counsel David Smith told the board a whistleblower made an ethics complaint against her.
The allegations are that there's been an abusive, hostile, humiliating, bullying, and related behaviors evidenced by the interim CEO.
That was August 2020, 1 year ago, despite the fact that Smith also said he wanted this wrapped up quickly.
We do not want such as this to hang out pending for too long a period of time.
But hangout pending, it did.
By now, the point of it is largely moot.
By this March 1st meeting, Stewart had already stepped down from the driver's seat. Another interim CEO had come and gone, and HART had hired a new CEO, Adelie LeGrand.
At this point, the investigation has gone on long enough, and it's time to wrap it up. So, unless anyone has any objections, we'll be asking the investigating attorney to provide a final report on her findings to date to the new CEO, and to provide the staff with a final invoice.
2 weeks later, the outside law firm conducting the investigation got paid $25,725. But despite getting paid, that law firm still hasn't finished the investigation 1 year later. Compare that to the CEO Stewart replaced, Ben Limmer.
I wanted to stand up and personally stress to each and every one of you how deeply apologetic I am over all of these transgressions.
An outside law firm wrapped up his ethics investigation in 3 months, and the board fired him. While the investigation into Stewart dragged on, HART paid nearly $100,000 for her to resign between a settlement, severance, vacation payout, and attorney's fees. Those were the terms of this settlement agreement after she filed complaints that she was subjected to unlawful discrimination and retaliation. So if taxpayers already paid about $100,000 for her to leave, and already paid more than $25,000 for the investigation, why aren't the results public yet? I asked for interviews with HART's CEO, board chair, and multiple board members.
It's Jenna Bourne with 10 Tampa Bay again. Straight to voicemail.
And we can do this in a sit-down interview where Ms. LeGrand chooses the time and location, or we can show up to a public event and start asking our questions there. So let me know what you'd like to do. No responses.
Transparency.
Not only are we being very transparent, transparency.
Turns out HART's board still isn't allowing the public to go to their meetings in person because of COVID. So I registered to call in for public comment.
So as a board that says they value transparency, my questions are, is that investigation still active? Was it halted to keep the results secret? Who knows what the investigators found? And why was Carolyn House Stewart paid to leave?
Does that conclude your comments, Ms. Bourne?
It does, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mandel, you're recognized.
Yes, board members, this remains an active investigation, and pursuant to public records law, we are not obligated to provide those documents until that investigation has concluded. And the other comments I would prefer not to make in a public forum.
Despite getting stonewalled in the meeting, it actually seemed to work. Hours later, I got a surprisingly candid email from HART General Counsel David Smith, saying in part, the delivery date keeps getting pushed back. Apparently different people want to be heard. And he said HART was promised delivery at different times, which deadlines have come and gone without a report. Sorry you have not gotten this sooner. We are as frustrated as you are. I've been reaching out to the investigating law firm Latham, Luna, Eden, and Bodine for weeks.
I'm trying to get some information about the independent investigation that your firm conducted for Hillsborough Area Regional Transit. I'm calling for the second time. This is actually my third time calling about this. Jenna Bourne. She doesn't have a response for me.
The investigating attorney, Dottie Green, turned down my interview request. I also want to let you know, I called Carolyn House Stewart, mailed her a letter, and called her attorney asking for her to share her side of the story, but have not heard back. HART's general counsel tells me they're now expecting the final report on the investigation by mid-August. We'll update you when it comes out in the comments below. Thanks for watching What's Brewing. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and I'll see you next time.